Chosen one, what feels like isolation is not punishment, it's placement. I am the one who pulled you back, pulled you out and pulled you away, not to break you, but to rebuild you. You have been wondering why you've been left out, why you've been overlooked, why silence has become louder than support. And I am telling you now, it is because I set you apart. When I choose someone, I do not begin by surrounding them with applause. I begin by stripping away the noise. I've silenced the crowd so you can hear my voice. The loneliness wasn't abandonment, it was alignment. You were never alone. You were being led into the sacred space where only I could speak to you clearly. Do not confuse my silence with absence. My silence was strategy. You were not cut off, you were being carved out for something rare, something holy, something unmatched. What others called rejection was actually redirection, and what felt like isolation was really insulation. I protected you from conversations that would have corrupted your calling. I kept you from relationships that would have drained your oil. This was not delay, it was design. Every door I shut, every person I removed, every opportunity that passed you by, it was me. I did not forget you, I was forming you. The isolation wasn't to break you down, it was to break you free. You were tangled in people-pleasing, stuck in cycles of approval addiction, chained to false responsibility, and I had to set you apart to set you loose. You cannot carry the mantle I've assigned to you while carrying the weight of everyone else's expectations. I isolated you because I'm raising you as a voice that won't echo culture, but cut through it. You're not being hidden because you're weak. You're being hidden because you're dangerous to the enemy's plans. I am sharpening your sword in silence. The longer the wilderness, the greater the weight of the calling that follows. You thought nothing was happening, but everything was happening in you. I was emptying you of what the world put in you so I could fill you with what only I can give. In isolation, I restored your vision, rekindled your faith, and revealed your true identity. You didn't lose your way, you lost your old self. That's why it hurt. That's why it was quiet. But now you are not who you were. You are the version of you that hell feared would awaken. I did not bring you this far to leave you desolate. I led you through isolation to release you in power. You are not forgotten. You are being forged. I'm not done with you. I'm just getting started through you. The silence you walked through gave birth to the voice you now carry. You will speak, and chains will break. You will move, and atmospheres will shift. You will obey, and I will back you. What I've done in private, I'm about to announce in public. The wilderness was your proving ground, and you passed the test. Now I am releasing the next phase. You didn't need a crowd to confirm you. You needed consecration. I've watched you obey when it cost you everything. I've seen your tears in the night. I've heard your prayers no one else knew you prayed. And I am responding now. Not with a whisper, but with a move that will validate every hidden season you thought was wasted. You have not missed your moment. It was never behind you, it was always ahead of you. Everything you've walked through I'm about to use. The pain, the loss, the silence, the confusion, it will become fuel for what I'm releasing in you. You were set apart not because you were less, but because you are more than the world could handle in your unfinished form. The isolation was your incubation. Let this be the truth you anchor in now. I have not set you aside. I have set you apart. Those who misunderstood your silence will soon witness your emergence. What you thought disqualified you has become the very evidence of your preparation. You are my chosen, and I did not choose you for comfort. I chose you for impact. And now the time of unveiling begins. Chosen one, the people who walked away weren't accidents. They were assignments completed. I allowed them to exit your life because their presence could no longer serve your purpose. What you called abandonment, I called alignment. I did not let them reject you to harm you. I allowed it to reveal you. You needed to see who could not go where I'm taking you. The pain of being misunderstood was not punishment. It was preparation. I was purifying your circle, not to leave you empty, but to leave you ready. Every subtraction was a setup for your elevation. You kept asking me why the ones you were loyal to turned cold, why the ones you supported suddenly fell silent, why the ones who celebrated you started to compete with you. And my answer remains, I removed access to protect your anointing. You don't need applause from those I never assigned to your destiny. I am not building your identity around popularity. I am establishing you in purity. If I had allowed them to stay, their voices would have polluted the clarity of what I am saying to you now. I cut the noise so you could finally hear me clearly. There's a cost to being set apart, and that cost is usually comfort. I never called you to blend in, I called you to break through. That's why your journey didn't look like theirs. That's why you couldn't compromise like others did and still feel peace. You are not wired for imitation, you are built for impact. The isolation has been painful, but it's also been powerful. You learned to depend on me when no one else showed up. You learned to pray deeper when no one was listening. That season built a foundation no storm can shake. You have been asking me, God, why did it have to be this hard? And my answer is simple, because what I've placed in you is that holy. I don't entrust destiny to the distracted. I entrust it to the refined. Every lonely night, every unanswered call, every tear you cried in silence, I was watching, I was present, and I was proud. Because even when it hurt, you stayed faithful. Even when it was confusing, you kept walking. That faithfulness has not gone unnoticed, and now everything is shifting in your favor. Let's lock this in. Smash that like button, subscribe to stay connected. Then comment 55. It represents covenant and fresh alignment. You were never created to walk with the crowd. I've always led my chosen ones through the narrow path. The wide road is easy, but it's empty. The narrow road is costly, but it's holy. That path you've been on, the one filled with silence, separation, and solitude, was the exact terrain I used to train you. You are not late. You are not lost. You are not lacking. You are right on time, in the right place, walking with the right purpose. I've been building a strength in you that isolation required. Public favor cannot be sustained by private weakness, so I strengthened you in private. You don't need validation from the crowd. You have confirmation from me. I called you. I prepared you. I anointed you. And now I am appointing you. The isolation was never a detour. It was the route to divine placement. Every quiet moment was a sacred investment into your future authority. What's coming next will require the version of you that was born in the silence. If I had released you too soon, you would have crumbled under the weight of what's coming. But now you've been fortified. Now you're unshakable. Now you're ready. I will vindicate your name. I will confirm your calling, and I will display my glory through your life. The ones who questioned your absence will soon witness your undeniable presence. So breathe deeply, chosen one. The silence is over, but the strength it built will never leave you. You are stepping out of the hidden place not as who you were, but as who I called you to be. Isolation was never the end of your story. It was the birthplace of it. You have been set apart, not to be pitied, but to be positioned. And now the world will see what I've always seen in you. Chosen one, the silence around you was not random, it was sacred. I quieted the noise so you could finally discern my voice from every other influence. When others seemed to be moving ahead, I held you back, not to hinder you, but to anchor you. Your foundation had to go deeper than theirs because your calling reaches higher. I didn't allow you to be distracted with the temporary, because I've marked you for the eternal. The silence was not a season to survive, it was a strategy to refine. You weren't being punished, you were being purified. Every invitation you had to decline, every room you weren't welcomed in, every celebration you weren't included in, I ordained it. Not to exclude you, but to elevate you apart from the crowd. If I had let you blend in, you would have buried your brilliance to make others comfortable. But I didn't create you to shrink. I created you to shine. So I hid you from premature visibility until you could carry the weight of your anointing without compromise. That's why it's taken time. That's why it's been lonely. Because what's inside you isn't common. Isolation gave me space to confront the lies that life taught you. I had to show you that your worth is not based on how many people choose you, but on the fact that I did. You've wrestled with questions, insecurities, fears, and in the silence, I answered them one by one. I showed you what to release, what to reclaim, and what to reject. You learned how to be alone without feeling abandoned. That's how you became dangerous to the enemy. He could no longer use loneliness to manipulate you. I let everything slow down so your spirit could speed up. While others were distracted, I was delivering you from everything that would have diluted your destiny. You didn't miss your moment. You matured into it. You're not behind. You're ahead in ways you don't yet understand. Your timeline is not measured by man's clock. It's ruled by my covenant. That is why the doors are about to open, not because you forced them, but because you're finally ready to walk through them as the version I refined in isolation. You must stop mourning what I removed, because what I am releasing will overshadow what you lost. I know it felt like everything was stripped away, but what I removed were weights, not wings. You were not buried, you were planted. And now what I've been growing in secret is about to break the surface. You will no longer explain your isolation. Your fruit will do the talking. The evidence of my hand will be undeniable. The wilderness made you strong enough to carry what others can't. It forced you to depend fully on me. And that dependency is what makes you dangerous, because it makes you immovable. No applause can sway you. No criticism can stop you. You've been anchored in private obedience, and I reward that openly. I will honor every quiet yes. I will elevate every hidden sacrifice. I will exalt what was ignored. So when they ask, "Where have you been?" you'll know how to answer. I've been in the presence of the one who set me apart. Let them wonder, let them speculate. But you'll know the truth. I was the one who hid you. I was the one who held you, and I am the one who's now about to release you. You were not benched, you were being built, and the unveiling begins now. Chosen one, I did not isolate you to harm you. I isolated you to harden you against the lies that used to seduce you. There were places in your soul that still craved validation, still longed for approval, still depended on being seen. And I loved you too much to leave you at the mercy of public opinion. I silenced every other voice so you could finally recognize mine. You didn't need another opinion. You needed divine revelation. So I led you to the place where my word became the only sound that remained. That's where your transformation began. What others saw as your breakdown was actually your birthing. While they assumed you had fallen off, I was pulling you up into purpose. The silence taught you how to fight in the spirit, not with noise, but with discernment. You no longer react the way you used to because isolation refined your response. What would have broken you before now builds you. That's evidence of growth. That's how I know you're ready. You're no longer the version of yourself that needs people to confirm what I've already spoken. I stripped away the crowd so I could strengthen your character. What's coming to you requires more than charisma. It requires conviction. I will not allow you to rise in visibility without being rooted in identity. That's why I made you wait. That's why I blocked what you thought was your breakthrough, because your foundation was still settling. But now the pressure that once confused you has turned into power you carry with confidence. You didn't just survive the silence, you became unshakable inside of it. Your character became your covering. In private, you were tested, refined, stretched, and proven. I watched how you responded when no one was watching. I saw how you handled the moments of being overlooked. And I smiled, because while others rushed ahead, you chose to stay with me. And now, I'm releasing favor that doesn't fade. You don't need to hustle for doors to open when I'm the one who holds the keys. You don't need to compete for attention when you're already crowned with purpose. I am not just restoring what was lost, I'm revealing what was hidden. You've carried this for so long in silence. You've wept in hidden places no one knew existed. You've battled depression, fear, rejection, and yet you still chose me. That's why I'm choosing now to vindicate you. This next season will not be about struggle, it will be about supernatural stability. Not survival, but significance. You are not going to barely make it. You are going to overflow. The tables are turning, and I am setting them in the presence of those who thought you were finished. They will not recognize you, not because you changed your appearance, but because you changed dimensions. What I did in you during isolation cannot be reversed. The anointing on your life is sealed. Your identity is secure. Your position is settled. You don't need to announce anything. I will make the announcement through your fruit, your impact, and your undeniable rise. Chosen one, isolation built the kind of clarity that confusion can no longer disrupt. That's why the enemy fears you, not because of how loud you are, but because of how clear you've become. You know who you are, you know who sent you, and you know what you carry. From this day forward, Your decisions will flow from discernment, not desperation. You will no longer knock on doors I haven't opened. You will no longer chase validation that was never meant to sustain you. I have become your source. Chosen one, there's a reason I didn't let you fit in. It's because I never called you to. The discomfort you felt wasn't a flaw. It was your divine fingerprint, pushing back against compromise. You were never supposed to blend into atmospheres that dilute what I placed in you. That feeling of being the outsider, the misfit, the one always on the edge, that was not rejection, that was recognition. Heaven recognized you before the world ever will. And now the same isolation that made you feel forgotten is about to prove you were favored all along. I set you apart because I needed your voice pure, not polluted by the patterns of the crowd. I couldn't let you adopt the values of the world and still carry my authority, so I separated you. I slowed you down. I let things dry up around you, not to punish you, but to protect your purity. I wasn't being cruel. I was being surgical. You needed space to unlearn the systems that poisoned your confidence. I had to pull you back before I could launch you forward. That's the real reason for your silence. It was my scalpel. I exposed your need for affirmation so I could heal it. I stripped you down to nothing so you could be rebuilt on a solid foundation. My word, not their words. You have no idea how close you were to forfeiting your call to fit into their comfort zone. But I pulled you out just in time. And now, because you trusted me with the pain of isolation, I can trust you with the power of influence. You won't use it to dominate, you'll use it to liberate. You won't manipulate, you'll elevate. That's what I've been preparing you for. What the enemy labeled as loneliness was really a locked chamber for transformation. I was doing deep heart work, beyond the filters, beyond the masks, beyond the performance. I needed you raw, and I needed you ready. I revealed the places where pride hid behind insecurity. I exposed the wounds that applause had covered up, because this next season requires the whole version of you, not the broken, masked, or fragmented one. You are not stepping into destiny as a half-built house. You're stepping in complete, grounded, and fully awakened. I let the invitation stop so I could send one of my own. You don't need access to their rooms when I'm building you a throne in the spirit. You don't need their acceptance when I've already appointed you for such a time as this. You are not here to participate, you are here to shift, and the shift begins now. You will not lower your light to make others feel comfortable in their shadows. You will rise, you will lead, and you will never again apologize for the authority I've placed on your life. Isolation taught you how to move without applause and build without approval. It taught you how to pray without panic and obey without needing understanding. You no longer second-guess what I speak. You move with confidence, because in the stillness I showed you my faithfulness. In the silence I revealed my power. And now you don't need to explain the process. You'll carry the fruit that proves it. The season of trying to convince others is over. You are the evidence. You are not behind. You're hidden. And hidden things are sacred to me. I did not bury you. I preserved you. Like a seed, I planted you in darkness to prepare you for harvest. And now, what I have nurtured in silence is about to explode in power. You won't need to chase it. It will find you. The doors, the platforms, the people, they will align themselves with what I've already established in you. Because when I say it's time, nothing can delay it. So walk boldly now, not as one who's recovering from rejection, but as one who's been raised in revelation. Your identity has been forged. Your confidence has been restored. Your calling is undeniable. The ones who thought you disappeared are about to witness your emergence, and when they ask how it happened, your answer will be simple. God set me apart, and now He's setting me up. Chosen one, what felt like isolation was actually a divine initiation. You weren't being left behind, you were being invited higher. I've been calling you into a dimension that few are willing to walk in, and even fewer are qualified to endure. This level of clarity, conviction, and power requires separation. That's why I didn't let certain people walk with you. That's why the usual distractions lost their grip. I was cleansing your atmosphere, not just your schedule. I didn't isolate your body, I sanctified your spirit. You've been in my inner court, not left in exile. You were not placed in obscurity to be forgotten. You were placed in obscurity to be formed. Visibility without spiritual maturity is a trap, and I loved you too much to let influence destroy what I was still building in you. The silence allowed me to kill the idol of performance and awaken the power of presence. You don't need to prove yourself anymore. You don't need to brand your worth. I branded you with my hand, and what I mark I protect. What I protect I raise, and what I raise no man can take credit for. I've been teaching you how to hear me in stillness so that no storm can shake you. That's why the silence lasted so long, because it's not about volume, it's about vibration. You've been attuned to my frequency now, and from this place you will move with authority, not anxiety. You will speak with revelation, not reaction. You will lead from overflow, not effort. What you lost in noise, you gained in knowing. What you missed in motion, you received in meaning. This is the kind of depth that can't be faked, and that's why I trust you now. Don't grieve the seasons that didn't recognize you. Don't mourn the platforms that overlooked you. They couldn't see what I hid. You are not for mass consumption. You are for divine demonstration. Your life is a sign. Your survival is a prophecy. Your clarity is an announcement. Everything you walked through in secret is about to speak louder than anything you could have said in public. You don't need to tell your story. They'll see it written on the fruit you carry, and that fruit will speak with fire. I made you invisible to the world so I could make you invincible in the spirit. I did not keep you quiet because you lacked something. I kept you quiet because I was giving you something others don't carry. Now that you have it, you'll no longer need to chase opportunity. Opportunity will be drawn to the oil. You've become magnetic to miracles not because of what you're doing, but because of who you became in the crushing. The anointing you now carry is not common, it's weighty, it's undeniable, and it's about to speak for itself. Those who once questioned your distance will now crave your presence, but I caution you, not everyone can come with you into what's next. Do not confuse compassion with covenant. Just because someone is familiar doesn't mean they're assigned. I will give you discernment for who to trust, when to speak, and where to plant. You've outgrown the atmosphere that once suffocated you. You don't owe explanations. You owe obedience. I set you apart so you would not repeat the cycles that bound generations before you. You are the interruption to every curse, the answer to generational prayers, the breaker of patterns, and the restorer of purpose. That's why it had to be different. That's why it couldn't be easy. You are not just carrying your own calling, you are carrying a lineage into freedom. I entrusted this weight to you because I knew you would not fold under it. You were built to break barriers. So now, walk in what I've placed on you, not timidly, not cautiously, but with the boldness of one who knows they've been chosen. The weight didn't crush you, it crowned you. The silence didn't weaken you, it strengthened you. And the loneliness didn't kill you, it consecrated you. Now rise, not as the one who was forgotten, but as the one who was forged in fire and sent to shift the atmosphere. Chosen one, your isolation was not a detour, it was a consecrated corridor into destiny. I didn't pull you away from people, I pulled you closer to purpose. Every step that felt like loss was actually a setup for legacy. I had to isolate you from noise, not because you were weak, but because you were ready. You didn't need more opinions. You needed more revelation. And in the stillness, I didn't just reveal your next, I revealed who you really are. You've been walking with a deeper awareness, not just of me, but of yourself. There's a clarity that only silence can birth, and you carry that now. That's why conversations feel different. That's why environments you once tolerated now feel suffocating. You've outgrown what used to distract you. You're not cold, you're consecrated. You're not distant, you're dialed in. I recalibrated your heart to my frequency, and now you don't just discern what's good, you discern what's God. That discernment is your weapon. It's how you'll navigate this next season, not by sight, but by spiritual precision. You don't need to chase alignment anymore. Alignment will recognize you. The same silence that trained you in obedience will now release you into overflow. Doors are going to open, not because of who you know, but because of who you've become. You don't need to network your way into purpose. You need only stay aligned. What used to require striving will now respond to your surrender. Your assignment isn't activated by performance, it's released by purity. You didn't manipulate your way here, you yielded your way here. So don't shrink when visibility increases. Don't apologize when the elevation comes. This is not a promotion from man, it's a positioning from me. I am the one who hid you, and I am the one revealing you. The silence was never meant to silence you, it was meant to solidify you. You've become too rooted to be shaken now, too sharp to be manipulated, too clear to be confused. That's the power of what I did in the silence. Let's take a quick second before we go on. If this is confirming something deep in your spirit, hit like right now. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming. And comment 55 below. That's the prophetic code of covenant and new alignment. You are not coming out the same way you went in. Isolation was never your identity. It was your instruction. And now you will lead with authority, not anxiety. You won't walk in wondering who you are, you'll move knowing whose you are. This is the season where your footsteps become prophetic, where your silence becomes a sermon, where your presence begins to carry undeniable impact. The places that once overlooked you will now be changed by you. I'm sending you into rooms that won't understand how you got there, but they won't be able to ignore why you're there. The favor on your life is not explainable. It's supernatural. The anointing on your words is not from books, it's from the breaking. The authority you carry doesn't come from a title, it comes from time in my presence. You are not a product of man's platform, you are a product of my preparation. And that preparation is complete. Now go, not with hesitation, but with holy confidence. Your set-apart season has made you a signal in the spirit. Hell has already taken notice. Heaven has already gone before you. You carry more than a message. You carry a mantle. You are not walking in theory, you are walking in testimony. Everything about your life is proof that I speak, that I see, and that I send. And I am sending you now, not to blend, not to beg, but to shift everything around you. Chosen one, now you know, your isolation was divine strategy, not emotional tragedy. I orchestrated every delay, every closed door, every cancelled plan. Nothing about your detour was accidental. It was a direct route into the depths of my presence. You were not being sidelined, you were being sanctified. And because you trusted me in the hidden place, I'm about to trust you in the high places. What I deposited in you when no one was watching is about to erupt in the places where everyone can see. But your value is not based on visibility. Your value was proven in the silence. And that silence has become your secret weapon. You are stepping into a season where your fruit will speak louder than your voice ever could, where your character will carry more weight than any platform, where your yes to me in private will open doors that no effort ever could. I am not launching a brand, I am releasing a vessel. You will walk in purity, clarity, and unstoppable boldness. Every chain that tried to bind you in isolation is now being shattered in manifestation. The weight you carried in secret will now become the authority you carry in public, and every tear that fell in silence will now water the harvest you're about to reap. I set you apart because I needed one who wouldn't fold under pressure. I needed one who wouldn't sell their soul for validation, and I found that one in you. I looked through the earth and saw a heart that would stay when others fled, obey when others compromised, believe when others grew cold. Your loyalty didn't just touch me, it qualified you. I will never waste your warfare. I will never forget your obedience. You're not coming out of isolation with wounds, you're coming out with weapons. What began in silence will end in glory. What looked like delay was divine timing. What felt like pain was prophetic preparation. You were never behind, you were being built. And now I am releasing you into the very thing I isolated you for. You won't just impact rooms, you will transform regions. You won't just touch lives, you will awaken destinies. And it all started the moment I set you apart.